Nice. Morning. They're on stuff around.
We are recording.
Well, morning, Brian.
Morning. Oh, good. I guess so, yeah.
All right, good morning, everyone. We'll call to order the May 6th meeting of the Madison County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chris Wallace. If everyone would please introduce themselves.
Tony Sinikas.
Brendan Shea.
Bob Slang.
Dick Atkins, prosecutor. Sheriff John Swain.
On the mayor's.
Right there.
Amy Reesler.
Good. Everybody should have received a copy of last week's meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes. Very good. Mr. Sweeney, please, sir.
Good morning. Wonderful wet weekend. I don't have any, items of business for the honorable board this morning. I do want to mention that, we'll be participating in, the Apollo's, annual memorial, recognize our fallen officers. Do that on, Thursday, the 8th. There'll be a lot of traffic on 56. Spoke with, ODOT and know that, they were working, resurfacing that road 56 and, participated on a team's meeting yesterday. That'll have this section between 470 and London completed by then, so they'll be working to the north and it shouldn't impact any issues or travel, fast concern. So, other than that, two gentlemen, have anything to me this morning? to Discuss?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't know if you heard my little speech at OAPC exercise the other day.
No, I'm sorry. I had court that day, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I know you popped in there and popped out, but I'll just, reiterate, I've been in OAPC for 24, 25 years now, and it's come so far from what it was back then. That exercise was probably the best exercise that I ever have been in, as far as
I think you might go with more of a practical, exercise, which you never know that you can be thrown. Wish I could participate. Unfortunately, I had to go in. I had staff representatives. I heard, at least on my side, staff, our communication. Did really well. And like I said, and not only is it good to have those exercises, not only does it get your stakeholders in the room and get them face to face and get acclimated with one another.
Yeah, and there wasn't anybody missing that I could think of, like everybody was there. Everybody participated. I think it was a great exercise. Chief Bennington did an amazing job. I was like, I think he's got a career after retirement.
He's got a knack for that.
Yeah, he does definitely have a knack for it. So, yeah, just wanted to say that was well done, very well done.
We'll have to give a little letter then for those that put that together.
Yeah, then the one piece that I found interesting was the asking for volunteers, which you weren't there, and I'm thinking, if you have a bunch of public volunteers just showing up, I think that's just more people we have to look out for, so.
Give you another job.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
well done.
Good. Mr. Atkins?
Morning.
Morning.
There are a few events coming up and Sheriff just touched on one I wanted to just bring to everyone's attention. First, the Light Ohio Blue event is going through West Jeff tomorrow evening. I think 6:50 is the anticipated time to go through West Jefferson. Again, that's Wednesday the 7th, 6:50. Sheriff mentioned the fallen peace officers memorial service. That's at 11.
Yeah, at 11, the Attorney General and I will do a private ceremony at about 10:30 with the surviving family members, and then they'll do the outside event. So yeah, right now, maybe might not be able to go up to Thanksgiving.
Right, that's right, that's, I forgot. And so that's, yeah, Thursday, the 8th at 11, and then the final event is the Special Olympics torch run to come through London on the 13th, next Tuesday. They're anticipating about 11:30. That is all.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Engineer?
Morning, everyone. The business is forming, but I want to give you an update on where we were at with the bridge on Dick Point Circle Road over Boston Run. It's the first time, and bids were well over the estimate. We went back to the drawing board and included some more information in the bid documents, trying to get the pricing down. That you received bids last week. The low bid was still 574,000 and change. The funding we had lined up for that was around 300 grand. And we had increased that a little bit. Again, the second time around, we knew what we could build it for with our crews, and we tried to increase that enough to account for it being by contract and federally funding and whatnot. We went back to Forco yesterday and asked for an increase. They approved a 30% increase in our funding. Problem is our share of it is still going to be around 205,000. So our intention right now is to return that funding to Forco. Build the bridge by course account, about $225,000. Avoid all the federal aid strings, get it done this year, and then apply for another project next spring. So we'll be coming back next week with a recommendation that you reject all bids. The low bid was still 20% over the estimate. It was a touch below 20. It legally could be awarded, but we still can't justify the additional spend for that contract. So for that next week.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brian. I just have a question. On the service road next to Sheets, can you explain what needs to be done at this point?
Because that was built as part of Sheets development. It was platted with the development as a public road. It was built county standard, built under our supervision. Sheets posted a bond. We've approved it. Really, the next step is to accept the road and turn it over to township. Typically, a developer will name the road at the time of planning. They did not this time. We're going to go back to Sheets and request a name for that road. If they don't want to do that, we can name it ourselves and go from there.
And then
it would become a township road upon your board's resolution.
okay, so the final step is just the naming, whether they do it or.
Naming, accepting, and turning it over to the township.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Go grab a copy real quick. Morning, Wayne.
Been going in here.
Hmm?
I said, how's things been going in here?
The way we like it, nice and slow. Got everything figured out. What else can you ask for?
Last night, we had the volunteers there, which they came present themselves and I was taking that over.
Brian,
I'm in for the ride.
thanks for that. Is it the same with the one, and I can't even picture this, but the one off 40, that's a washer, is that in the same?
So that should have been done when that pass was replaced. So only done using it.
Yeah.
And everyone's. And so I try to help. So the same, you have to get the same money. So process with that. Speed, like the state will give it to the county. So the county.
State that's good, ready to leave, and they
So you'll-
don't reply.
You initiate that process?
Okay.
That was big box of things, they're like 200-300.
3 minutes. I just want to keep it quiet and do it again, because it just aggravating. It's not, it's not being respectful.
Until Memorial.
Get some for you, you know?
He was gonna be, I was, that I was saying, when people don't think.
Yeah, that's how I got
Wait, that was real.
We got 50. It was, one of them was 300 rounds for a stir. So 200 rounds. 35 by 6.
How much each? 336 each.
Yeah, which is really, that's pretty good.
I can't reload.
We didn't have much time on it.
Cents.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great round.
So Chad.
Alright.
Yeah.
You'll have to do that, you're okay. That's true. Yeah.
Mine, that's the.
You see that? The snake back in sticks.
Myron, you're like walking tall this morning.
Oh, my, what? No, I'm walking small.
Walking small.
Yeah. You know, my knee. What's that?
Too much.
That's like an old man.
Too much rain, I thought maybe you're gonna
You
mention.
need some veterinary, you need some veterinary care?
Yeah.
Yes, I
I can fix you up a poultice.
I'll take it. Yeah,
Throw it out.
all mine.
All right, let's keep the show on the road. Roberta, if you would please.
Yes, sir. So I forwarded on to you guys a request for a letter of support for 911 next gen funding. I believe it's 69 cents, something like
I
that.
think that's the 125, I think.
No, currently.
Currently, 69, up to 125.
Yeah, so they're gonna increase, they want to increase that to $1.25 per cell phone user essentially in the state of Ohio. And considering how much it costs to run 911 these days, it's probably something that would definitely be appreciated. So it's whether or not the board would want to
So how is it,
sign this letter of support.
how is it gonna be funded now? Is it cell phones?
Well, there's a few different ways.
So that's to help offset the funding, so we don't have to increase any funds.
So somebody that uses a cell phone to call 911 will pay the fee?
But
Everybody.
it's in your, it's in your bill now, but it's not to that amount, you don't receive this.
Recent amount that's already on there.
Yeah, it's an increase, but it helps, because as the increasing cost of information technology and hardware comes with these 911 systems, they find themselves in difficult situations, so it's to help offset, so they don't have to increase the amounts of their levies, if they don't have a levy or if they're operating in the general funds.
This is supported by Buckeye State Sheriff Association. I think ours group, Commissioners Association supportive of this as well. Yeah, both groups are supportive of this, so I think it makes sense for us to enjoy that letter.
It seems to be the direction that a lot are going, and it would generate some revenue and even keep our technology top notch.
And it's not anything new, as Sheriff said, it's not a new charge. I mean, basically, when people started to transition into cell phones, and then was it phase 2 and with the GPS coordinates, so they could identify a caller's location in GIS and in the CAD. It just became more and more necessary to have that technology bill or charge implemented. It's been that way for, I think, a considerable amount of time. So again, it's just increasing that charge on a cell phone carrier's invoice to help fund next gen, 911.
I mean. That's thumbs up.
Yeah, so, I don't know if you have a resolution prepared for that or not, probably not, since we just got it yesterday, so we didn't have that resolution until Tuesday. I don't think it's really,
Do you want a letter to go with it or just the
so
resolution?
I've got a template that was sent to us, by the representative or senator that's sponsoring the bill, so I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Chavez.
Shot it, yes, yes. Yes, so we have those and, have that for you next Tuesday. Next thing I have on my list is quarterly report from the Humane Society. Pretty typical, their budget versus actuals, and January was a little concerning, but they made up ground over the last few months. So they operate the black, so there's nothing really I see that's concerning, at this point in time. So. And Brenda, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but considering that the commissioners fund part of the Humane Society, which are required to have an animal shelter. In agreement with that funding, they provide quarterly reports to us that we review to make sure that there's no surprises, happening or funding shortage down the road. Last, I did meet with, Moreno staff, yesterday, and it was concerning the, dollars for the, sheriff's complex. We've essentially asked him for 5 million, Mike Carey for 5 million, Houston for 5 million. I'm saying we'll get all of it, but,
If we don't have.
we'll get 5 million out of it. And I think what they're doing, what he's doing right now is just, qualifying, projects right now. So they've got a lot of asks. So I went through a round of questioning, on the project, and it seemed like it went very well. So, and of course, I extended the invitation for a tour of the current facilities, which, they didn't feel was necessary. So I think we ranked high on the project list, and I think if they all get together, that'll move forward with.
They won't.
Yeah, with the $4 or $5 million. So again, we were approved for 4 million, by Mike Carey, but, they kind of circled all the way back and started the process over again with the, new presidency, so.
Who was it that you met with from Senator Moreno's office?
Oh, geez, it was the two gentlemen.
The two
that were here,
gentlemen,
Nick
Nick and,
and,
okay.
can't remember the other
Yeah,
guys.
sorry. I'd be the same too, okay.
Yeah, so those two, same gentlemen, so. But it looks promising.
If we are awarded those funds, when do you expect to receive them?
They haven't really said, last year with Mike Carey's office, it was going to be this year, but since they went back to the beginning, I feel it's probably a year, maybe something like that. I don't know if you have any additional information to that.
Expectation to the board. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are up in the air right now, but we should still, have funding, to get that project off the ground, which we, at some point in time, which we expect the, 96 to be signed here in June, which will allow for the transfer of the property from DRC to Madison County. Once we have that, then we can start moving ahead, at a much quicker pace than where we are right now. But at that point in time, you guys will need to discuss how you want to fund that project moving forward. We're still out there shaking trees for possible grant dollars. I just found out about one yesterday. So yeah, we'll still try to weave as many, grants, or if you want, 0%, loans, that sort of thing together, but, there's still money in the general fund that can be used, so you have the capital available if you wanted to. add that. So that's where we're at right now. And that's all I have for you today, unless you have anything for me.
Just one question for you. For the resolution 280, explain, so it's a resolution approving a participation agreement regarding the usage of the agreement between the County Commissioners Association, Service Corporation, and West Publishing Corporation. Can you provide some background?
Okay. That's what she sent me to do. So
And I don't think I received a copy of that.
it was in the resolutions that I sent.
Yeah, I just,
I don't have that email. If I did, Maxim,
Location of services for non-custodial parents through the records data to be performed by Red Publishing Corporation through the consolidated lead evaluation and reported database clear. So it's to find people that child support.
and you, well, if you wanted to hold up on that one, you could, so I could research it, or I could, take a look at it.
Okay.
yeah, or if before we.
Yeah, we have a
You're able
little
to
bit of
take a
time.
look and see, yeah, I don't understand what this.
Tried to get a hold of Melissa.
agreement
Well,
is.
that's not ours, it's DJ.
DJFS. Can you send that email to me again? I don't know why I didn't get it. I see it went in the junk mail.
You got it?
I got it, yeah.
Seventeen. I appreciate it. I was just saying, like, for some reason, I'm like,
He's looking into that. David, do you know anything?
Just to make rounds, because I already township last night. And be adjusted. Yeah, but still the goal would be is to have, two public hearings, shred type situations. Probably looking at sometimes late summer, early fall, one in north side of the county, one south side. Inviting folks to come out and look at the maps. So I think it went well last night. Was no major changes that I can think of.
Very good.
Did you set any dates for those?
Not yet.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's far away, but do that, post it so everybody
Yeah,
knows that it's done.
yeah, I think we can probably rent out community townships, the north side and the south side, maybe look at, I'm not sure, figure it out. The location, appreciate that. But, yeah, good, done. Any questions?
Don't believe so.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
I'll do it down to call Melissa to get some more information on it.
Very good. Yep.
Resolution approving the payment of invoices from Madison County Auditor.
So moved.
Second.
One first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shane?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Resolution approving the environmental review certification form and request for release of funds for the Madison County 2024 CDBG program.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shane?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving Pinnacle Mechanical Contractors LLC to install HVAC equipment in the probate area.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shane?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving a contract for parking lot repairs at the Jones Building.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second. Any other discussions? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shane?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
A resolution approving a contract with Baldwin and Sons Remodeling Concrete and Home Repairs LLC for sidewalk and retaining wall repairs at the Madison County Prosecutor's Office.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Dr. Sneakers.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
A resolution approving Baldwin and Sons remodeling concrete and home repairs LLC for concrete work at the Job and Family Services Building.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Dr. Sneakers. Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
A resolution approving a sub-grant award agreement for the Recovery Ohio MDI program.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Dr. Sneakers.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
A resolution approving an increase in appropriations to the municipal court unemployment line.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Dr. Sneakers.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Any that's. Point for that. Did we give that up?
No, we still have some, well, people and companies that still submit. So right now we're going through lots of purchasing, which is collecting. What's it called? I figured you'd have these called, not a public figure house, but something like that, where they submitted all of the place. So there's still a few out there amongst that.
I just wondered.
Yeah, that was still chipping my way. I'm in there, I know where you're at now.
I'm chipping away things already.
Yeah.
Did I email you? I said, oh, I'll watch for it, and let you know I got it, and then boom, I didn't check my.
No.
Really well, they These guys are all. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like they're going through a joint purchasing program for placement services, so they're checking there.
I'm sorry, can you?
It looks like they are going through a joint purchasing program for placement services to non-custodial tenants.
A joint purchasing program? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
It's like,
through a joint purchasing program, which is similar to what we were just talking about with the tuck point in this building.
Oh.
that's the Jobs and Family Services resolution. All right, let me get back to it.
Did you give Melissa a call?
Ron is doing that right now.
Oh, okay.
So that would be with the West Publishing Corporation?
We can have the same thing.
Backpack baby.
Yeah, that's the way I'm reading it.
And like, we had to try to put big of those like that.
Baseball team still doing well? Still coaching them up?
We haven't played much recently.
Yeah, 4 days of rainouts, yeah.
Right, we've had a couple of rainouts.
You should have won the water polo.
Game. We're 2-0.
Okay.
8-year teams, 2-0. Hopefully tomorrow night, we'll see.
Yeah, and so.
Who does the field?
Yeah, it's really pretty waterlogged at this point.
Yeah, they are. Supposed to stop raining today, but it's not dry enough. Supposed to have, I think. Game. Game Wednesday. Practice Thursday. Practice Friday, the game Saturday. Yeah.
Two different teams. I remember, I think it was Amon's team we were playing. I coached it, Amon coached it, and I think he was. Up like the, playing. It did this. Or.
Hey, is Melissa around by chance? Commissioner Shea had a question about,
I heard that news.
I think it's for, placement services through a cooperative.
And I just said, right, outside told Sid. You can put something like that. YouTube just come and I'll go back,
Right,
do my meeting.
yeah, it makes sense.
No, check here.
We're gonna have one, let's make sure. Chicks won't be ready in the year. Yes. Yeah.
It's
Like
not.
you should, because that's.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll maybe these comments. I think you'd be something different. Yes, but yeah. We can get a steep side if we used to get out. Sometimes. Yeah, make it. You done with it?
IT guys. Stay this building.
Yeah, she's, wasn't doing that. So she got one.
Good job.
Feeling great.
Participation agreement regarding the usage of the agreement between Lake County Commissioners Association of Ohio Service Cooperation and West Publishing Corporation. Yeah, Melissa Howard sent it in. We can always hold off till next week if maybe. Well, I could send you the teams thing. Yeah, I just sent you the link by email.
I'm fine with. Yeah.
Who that, yeah, the resolutions somehow went into my junk mail, so I didn't get a chance to look over them.
Just gonna remind.
Well, that's all right, that's what it's for. In the email that I sent you. Yeah, that's it. Well, it didn't include the link.
Leslie just responded.
But she's copying and Bobby taking, so she's more than.
Too, yeah, she should have it too.
She's including Bobby taking, so that's weird.
She's saying.
That's that till September, October.
Well, you don't have to have something.
You might get it and try.
I think you already have.
He knows the policy better than the guard.
It's part of the show.
Just gonna call you downstairs.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen the list of bad and all. We may have to turn the volume up on them. Okay, so we'll get that.
Just.
Did it just, did you hang up?
Yeah, I was just starting.
Yeah, I think he just knew that this was, it all's coming back to back.
Yeah, I didn't hear it, whether.
Robin, can you hear us? Are you working with the
I can
TV?
turn it up. I don't know.
Is that the TV remote or the Teams remote? That's what I thought, the other one's the darker colors.
Yes, okay. Oh, push it up, not push on it.
What's that? Oh.
ALS. If you have to close it.
What?
Turn it on.
HDMI to VC.
Robin, can you hear us?
Volume 23.
Ashley, I'm on my Facebook. Try this. Okay, Robin, are you muted?
Oh, maybe that's on me.
Review people when they come in the
We do
meeting.
people when they come in. What's
Yeah.
happening?
It doesn't act like she's trying to talk, no, maybe I'll.
We have some muted.
Okay, wait. I was muted on your end. but I think you unmuted me now.
Yeah, I just gave you access to the microphone. Melissa, I gave you access as well, but I think you'll have to unmute it on your end.
Thank you. I'm unmuted now.
Perfect.
I'll use copy too.
Yeah, just provide a quick explanation of that resolution, if you would, please, that resolution and that agreement.
So Melissa, Rob told me the title. I honestly didn't even recognize it. So could somebody repeat back so Melissa knows which one you're talking about?
Yep, Amy will read the.
A resolution approving a participation agreement regarding the usage of the agreement between the County Commissioners Association of Ohio Service Corporation and West Publishing Corporation.
This is for the participation agreement that the state enters into for CLEAR, which our child support uses for their investigative to go after to see about when they're investigating to see whether someone has new income, for if someone's in arrears with their child support.
So actually, now that I've heard Melissa say it's CLEAR, CLEAR is a software program, or excuse me, a searching software that law enforcement, child support, children's services all are authorized to use to try to locate an absent for child support, an absent parent, and search their income for children's services. If we're trying to locate a relative, I don't know about law enforcement, but it is a state contract. I just had never heard it called what Rob read to me.
So we would become a party to this state contract or just continuing, or is this already in place now and it would be continued for another 2-year term? I see it's from June 1st through May 31st, 2027. Is that, we just renewing a 2-year term?
Yes, it's just a renewal.
Okay.
Mr. Shea, we have had child support has had CLEAR for at least 25 years because back in the day, children's services did not have access to it, but child support did. And then, I don't know, 5-8 years ago, they added children's services as a search engine that we were allowed access to. But child support's had it for at least 25 years because Sue Mosier used to have it back when I first started.
Okay, and is this a software that alerts us if someone is delinquent or has not, or how do you utilize that?
Yeah, so it's a search. No, there's not a, well, I cannot speak for child supports, whether they get alerts, but when I used it in children's services, if I had a person's name, a date of birth, a social security number, whatever identifying information that I had, I would enter it in CLEAR, and then it would give me whether they've opened a credit card account, if they've had a water bill. It would give me 3 different addresses. If I put my name in there, it was going to show me 5 different places that, from my marriage license to my water bill to so forth, to give me potentially 3 addresses to try to locate Robin Bruno. In the child support world, it's to try to locate the non-paying parent. In the children's services world, it was usually because we took custody of a child and we needed to try to find a grandma, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, somebody like that. This particular contract is specific to child support, I believe. Is that correct, Melissa?
That is correct.
Okay. And then the 23,000 a month figure, is that what you pay or is that the agreement with the state association? That's what they pay.
That's the agreement with the state. Typically, our bills have been $23 a month. Like,
Okay.
and it's not
Not 23,000.
not 23,000.
It is I believe, a charge per use or hit. And I will say that because umpteen years ago, as a practice, when I first got access to CLEAR, just to make sure I knew how to do it, I did put my own name in it. And Sue Mosier came running to me to say, Robin, we got charged because you put your name in it, but I was literally trying to figure out how to use it, like how much identifying. And so it is, I believe, by usage. So when Melissa says about 23, if we have a lot of searches one month, it may be a little bit higher. If we have less or none the next month, lower.
Yep, very good. I appreciate that explanation. I think we're good to move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks.
Read it again. Resolution approving a participation agreement regarding the usage of the agreement between the County Commissioners Association of Ohio of Service Corporation and West Publishing Corporation.
Move to approve.
Second.
The first and a second, any other discussion? None heard, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes. Very good. All right, it's a little early for open session, but we'll go ahead and get started. If there are any members of the audience that would like to make a comment, question, inquiry. Mr. Francis, as the champion at the bit.
Oh, where to start, it's about the airport. And, it's the county, think a lot of the county and, the way money's spent, this and that. And anyway, I've been chomping on a bit for about a year now because every question I ask, the airport authority seems to know nothing. And, which are a bunch of good fellows, but they're maybe not as outgoing as I am, as far as communicating. But anyway, a lot of the stuff that's going on out there, a lot of it's trivial, but of course, our airport manager, I tried to quiz him. He's got about as much knowledge as I don't know what, but, he has no common sense. And, it's something as simple as drainage or the block walls where they said the insurance company would not pay for because it was subsurface. The foundations, I totally disagree on that because when they took the wall out, it took the blocks out. And so that was a result of the tornado. And, I've got some pictures just give you a little bit of an explanation of stuff that I'm looking at. And, the old T hangers that they repaired, the H beams that was on the end of the long bar truss for the opening, they never moved a bit in a tornado. The structure was tore clear off of them. The post was all sheared, or some of them was getting rotten. But at the end of the H beam, they dug a 7-foot hole and put 3/4 rebar for dialing is what. They had a 7-foot circle of concrete that they poured around the H beam. And I talked to a guy out there from Serpro one day, and he says, this is all, he says it was all never done right to begin with. And of course, I presented him, I said, what withstood the tornado? I said, it's still staying there perfect. I said, how can the openings, I said, how can that be? I said, this is way overkill. And of course, the doors, we had an argument, well, not argument, a discussion about the doors that day. And I said, it ripped the metal off of them, stood them up, and they were still, I think Nick has resolved that deal. But the door was still usable. It needed some minor stuff done to it, but it could have had metal put back on it. And to me, there's no one overseeing that. Maybe I've got too much far or, look into it too much, but.
If we're talking about the same doors, I did get Corsa to cover those.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
It's the same overhead doors that I'm thinking, so, that was based on previous, insurance inspections.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
they
it was the time.
inspected
It was the time.
during that time, so, yeah, they were like, okay, yeah.
But I guess what I could blame on that deal, which I wasn't out there, but they took them off and folded them up and put them on semi and hauled them away. If you was gonna scrap them, you would have cut them up, I would have thought, throw them in a container, but it just, the whole deal did.
Are they following any specific recommendations for airports? And causing the overkill that you say?
No, I don't think it's much that, maybe some of the new building codes require. But
I
it,
didn't know if the airport itself had,
Yeah, I can probably speak to that a little bit. So
who oversees them, Rob? The people, is there anyone certified here?
well, pretty much the airport board took over from where I left off, because where I left off, it was, and I could be incorrect when I say this, but it was Department of Development. I think I sent you an email, but it was some state agency required a structural engineer to take a look at things. So everything is based off what the structural engineer is saying. And we're talking about the same things. So the structural engineer says this is what needs to be done. That's handed off to Servpro as the general contractor, and then they have either their people or the companies that they've hired perform that work. There were some things that popped up that the airport wanted done that wasn't necessarily or wasn't included or covered by insurance. They approved that, and I said, well, if you guys approved it and you didn't run it through us, you'll have to pay for it. So the airport said, okay, that will pay for it. Some of the things that Corsa wasn't going to cover, I did get them to cover. But really that has been the role that I've been playing. But I haven't had really any communication with the airport board concerning repairs for quite some time.
And of course, their assumption is that you guys is in charge of it and they're out.
Okay, well, it sounds like I need to get with the general contractor and remind them to go through me, because I think what's happened is they're there on site and people from the airport board or airport manager, they start talking to them and then they assume that they're project manager after that. That would explain why some of these repairs or upgrades that the airport wanted done, why I didn't know about them and they approved them. You know, because I'm like, well, who approved this stuff? Well, it was, I believe, Eric Summers. So then I was like, well, you know, this isn't something that we've budgeted for. This is outside the scope of the project. So I think you need to find it in your budget to pay for it, which they did. So I guess I need to re-engage everyone, maybe bring everybody back to the table and say, hey, we're kind of disjointed here. That would be my recommendation.
And of course, I think you'll get a lot of people agree with me, but the airport manager, you've dealt with him. I've asked him for a couple of things lately. I'm gonna do original drawings for one of the buildings, and so he said he was too busy. He didn't have time, didn't know where they was at. And he kept asking me why, which I have my own reasons. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I go through Eric, who's president of the airport authority. That's who I've been dealing with on the regular. Just he's very responsive.
yeah, he's very good. But, you know, some of the, like on hangar one, you know, which is something as simple, which is gonna cause trouble. You know, the wing that sticks out to receive the doors, they put a downspout drop there, which is gonna, come winter, it's gonna just cause trouble. It'd be hard on the building. Then beside the door, they did that, and I've got pictures to show you where, you know, the downspout used to lead over to the next one. And then it's got a tile that takes it away from the building.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, and there's a piece of concrete, which I've got pictures of, where you walk in that door and whoever the contractor was, poured a section right out there at the end where they had to work on that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's kind of sad now because there's a section there about 12 feet long or 14 feet long, but, you know, it needs to be done because it's a trip hazard. I've got some pictures.
I've been pretty much relying on the engineers and in the companies, because I could go out there and take a look at it and I'd say, oh, it looks good to me, because I don't really have a knowledge base in that sort of thing.
This is where they dropped it. Basically, they're trapping water. This is a wing wall on hangar one that receives the doors. And then this is where the downspout used to go. See, it came across the top of the door. The wing wall came down, dropped in it here. And then this one dropped into it. And see the area there, which water has already caused the trouble. And then this is, they poured concrete right here. And see this here going into that building? That could have been redone. And see where they exited that pipe? This is another explanation. See, there's a tile that takes care of the rest of the downspouts that leads to the north because there's a ditch out there. Anyway, see how it used to come down the side of the building? And just stupid, simple stuff, you know, which it needs to be made right. And that's the wing wall that I'm talking about. The water off of it used to come down and then it came down there. This is in front of the older T hangers that got chewed up on the end. We've always had 6-inch PVC sticking up. And of course the drops went into it. It goes towards the taxiway into there's catch basin there. And there's catch basins between all the T hangers. And then it goes to another main that goes on out. So the surface water or flash water is taken care of. This is what we've got now. See the catch basin? And of course, see the whips of field tile, just regular corrugated pipe. And to me, that's a hazard. And this is a picture that I had. This is the concrete that they poured around the H-beam. See the tile that they destroyed, and our airport manager claims that they're not responsible for anything underground. And I said, the hell they aren't. You know, it's part of the structure. This is just a picture of, they put 3/4 and 1-inch rebar cage around all the wooden posts. I've got pictures. This is a picture of the hangar that they're reconstructing. That was our newest, or one of our newest hangars. And see how the metal along the bottom, which this is a permanent foundation here. This is a floating slab around it. So in the winter, it moves up and down. And you can't stick the metal to it. In that building, it's got documentation there. You can see the pictures. It used to have an L-shaped piece of metal, which had through slip joint. And it may sound silly, but, and see how the metal is up, which it has to be, but see where it was painted, where that piece of metal was? And it was just basically a piece of flashing that would let the slab move up and down. And they're not putting that in. And the sad thing of it is, it don't sound silly, but as a tenant, if you saw a piece of wood in your hangar, I've got my door open, all that sawdust is coming underneath into my hangar. And I may have a motor part there, you know, or if you drop, which 1/4-inch drive tools you use a lot on an airplane. If you drop something or a screw or a nut and it goes rolling over, you know, that's why I was trying to find the old original drawings. And of course, I want to get a hold of full fab or full pro or whatever the building is. But anyway, it's just a bunch of silly stuff like that. But the drainage, which Brian knows I'm a little bit, you know, about drainage, but especially out there that, you know, I want it right.
Have you approached the board itself during their meeting? Or
Well, they say that they have no control.
have you approached the board and told them I would?
Yeah, they know that my concerns.
I can go to the next board meeting if you want to join me, and then we can discuss on who's in charge of what. You know, the airport authority has authority. over to the airport. We were operating under an emergency resolution from the county commissioners. Why I was so involved with it, that has been rescinded. But I can certainly try to help. If we can make out the list, I can talk to the project manager and see what we can get done.
You can have them, I was gonna show them to Brian.
So the question would be, am I in a supportive role or am I at the top of the pyramid?
Is there a project team that oversees that rebuild? Is it the board? Yeah, like we have a team, that
Yeah.
sheriff's office when we built it, over that rebuilding, was there a team again that oversees the day-to-day?
No, we're just going off of, basically what Corsa basically said needed to be done, what the general contractor, what they were following, and their contractors. So we had regular meetings there in the beginning, but, that is definitely fallen off.
How many people are on the board and how do they get there?
So I believe there's 7, Wayne,
Yeah, 5 to 7.
7.
Is it 5 or 7?
It's 5 or 7, but
Yeah,
How many on board, the rest?
and they're appointed.
Who appointed?
Well,
Do we have any appointments?
yeah,
One
we
guy
we-
that should have for
All-
quite some time.
Very all of them.
I'll have to look it up again, so I don't know if the townships appoint or if the commissioners appoint.
I answered this question about.
Yeah.
And of course, I've been on and off going to meetings till I got the field. And, it's just, I don't know why, but anyone you talk to out there, they kind of say, well, the counties took over. But to me,
We did up until we lifted the emergency part of it. And that board should be responsible now for the care of that place. That's why they're there.
So we only took, as Rob indicated, the tornado gave him certain more emergency powers as a result of that tornado to handle some of the cleanup and rebuild. That emergency resolution was only in place for, a certain period of time. I mean, that has since been revoked.
Yeah.
But, they're their own independent board, appointed by us and maybe others. And they hire their own managers. I mean, they're really responsible, the board and the manager, for the day-to-day operations. Now we have gotten involved when there are issues out there. We're happy to drag them in here and give them a reprimand. We've done it more than once. So that's kind of the oversight that we provide to the airport, to that board. If we need to talk to the board, because something isn't being done at the airport that we feel needs to be done. Like I said, we have called them into a meeting before, and had conversations with them about things that we wanted to see done at the airport. So I mean, we're happy to step in if there's a need for us to step in. But really, they're responsible for this project, for this day-to-day operation of this project, and now, kind of the rehabbing and construction of the airport now that those emergency powers have been lifted. There's only so much we can do to influence that, but they're really there to conduct the day-to-day operations. But as I said, if there's something that's being done at the airport that we don't necessarily agree with, then we can tell them that that is the case.
and I know basically a lot of this is trivial to you guys, but it's the longevity of buildings. If you dump water right next to it.
Well, this is an asset of the county, this is a county asset. We see it as a county asset, and we want the county asset to be, to be done well, to be maintained well. We want things to be done the right way. We have a stake in making sure they're done the right way. So as I said, if we need to get involved, we'll do what we can to encourage the board to take action if they're not doing it themselves.
And the reason after the tornado is that Rob jumped in was to deal with the insurance company, to expedite things rather than waiting for a board to have a meeting and make a decision, kind of took control over that. So that would happen and deal with the insurance companies and get things going. Maybe they don't know we rescinded that. I don't know. They might not.
think they'd be aware.
Yeah, I mean, basically, after we received all of the approvals and insurance payments and so forth, so on, and we had a plan in place of what was gonna happen, then that's when the handoff, took place. And as I mentioned before, you know, I'm not knowledgeable in that construction stuff, so if somebody puts something up and it looks good, I'm gonna think, hey, it looks good to me. That's where the airport comes into play, because they know, you know, what's right and what's wrong. I don't. So,
And it looks like most of that stuff can be redone appropriately, right? Yeah.
if we can put a list together, I can definitely,
Yeah.
you know, be an advocate and speak to the project manager and say, you know, hey, what's our solution here? How do we get?
Yeah, contract's still open, you could easily,
I'm sorry.
if the contract is still open, you could easily get a bunch list together,
Yeah,
for them. So good,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
they
that,
did the airport work good.
yeah, I think that makes sense. So yeah, why don't you and Rob go to an airport board meeting and sort this out? I mean, I think that would be the best next step is to facilitate communication, have everybody in the same
And have a
room.
good list.
Yeah,
Yeah, have your pictures, have a list and discuss on how we can remedy those items. If the contract is still open, as Brian said, then get a punch list for them to deal with those outstanding issues.
Then, you know, I don't want to cause trouble, but I want to place that.
You're always causing trouble. Don't say you don't want to.
But seriously,
We're not
you
buying
know,
that.
you know what needs to be done, right? And somebody overlooks it because they don't think it's important. Right? So if you show them that it is important, you know, hopefully they get it done. If not, come back and see us.
And another thing, when, you know, the two newer hangars got tore out.
Mhm.
And of course, when they built the second new hangar, the last one that went the wrong way, the flashing was there. They never put it in, which I've got 10 people that can document this. They stuck the metal on the concrete and the buckles, so the J-car come back in there and trimmed it. And I don't know why I'm so anal about making it sealed between, you know, your T hanger to my T hanger to, you know, John's T hanger. It's just, you know.
It's
to me,
you. It's you, definitely. It's you.
Well, you're renting your space, you're not renting.
And if you're sawing wood or, I was in someone's hangar one night, the guy was trying to touch up some paint. He was over sawing and the wind just brought it underneath there. I thought, wow.
and that was there originally when it was built, wasn't added at any point in time.
No, that was in the last T hangar that was built. And the flashing, when the building came, was laying there because I drove around the inventory because I'm nosy. And anyway, you know, I walk over to the other one, and right there, it's just a 4x4 piece of 12 gauge pin up. That's the flashing for the bottom of the building. Or inside the T's. And, you know, which it's not much, but it does for keeps stuff from rolling underneath the 1.5-inch hole.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, which, you know, that would be a great plus
You know,
if you go out there with
It
me.
just keeps getting
Yeah, I
worse.
think we just need to maybe clarify what the transition is going to be. But I will say, you know, some of the major issues that are being from the insurance company is saying, hey, that was added after the fact. You know, so we're not gonna cover it. That's the reason I asked, like the drop ceilings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is nothing to do with that stuff.
It's all original.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think we can make a pretty good argument for that.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. Why don't you gentlemen get on the airport board's next meeting and have a conversation about those issues with them and then move forward with the solution. Very good. And if you don't get a solution, come back and see us and we'll talk to the board.
You can pick me up.
Right.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it. Yep, thank you. All right, we'll continue open session. Anybody else have any comments, questions, inquiries? Anything? Will be good of the order.
So Avila is, a guest on my agenda, so
So,
we are moving a little faster than what the agenda had established, so.
I didn't see it was.
Oh, okay.
I'm just here to listen. We appreciate your listening. Judge, do you have anything to say? We're always so anxious to hear from you.
I'd like to remind everybody to vote today. Native American.
That's right, that's right, that's important, it's very important. I have to go do that.
Done did it.
It's your sticker.
That's right, that's right. Have an interesting bond issue, we'll see how that goes. Could be a nail biter.
You can turn it.
Yeah, I imagine there is. All right, anything else for the good of the order? Going once? Going twice, meeting adjourned.
Yeah, I.
Quite refreshing.
Well, it's our meeting, it's after.
Good.